Too much. We've got too much for the next hour and a half. I can't fit it all in. I've been bombarded with requests for airtime. It's only an hour and a half before we get to Collingwood and the Saints, and we haven't got enough time to fit it all in. I'll tell you what's coming up later on. Charlie Dixon not far away. Bristol's got a bomb. It's a sizable missile. Explosive stuff. I can't wait for that. Spud reckons he's got Tony Lockett, but again, in the lead up to going to air right now, he's questioning whether he's going to have him, and there are also terms as to whether he turns up.
Well, his phone's off, Jim. It's the other problem.
Yeah,
he's out of range in the dividing range.
Yeah, exactly. An hour and a half. It takes 7 hours from Barrel to the Crown tonight to congratulate Robert Harvey, getting inducted as a legend in the St Kilda Hall of Fame. So he's going down to honour him, and he's agreed to come on. And I'll have one question I'm going to hand over to BT.
Well, your terms are that Damo and I can never be a part of any discussion with Plugger.
You did say that.
He's been on twice.
I didn't say that.
And the problem is, I'm very glad that Bristle and Duck are involved in this interview, because you've run the last two and they've been real eye dryers. So just been flatteners. Just how many cows have you got? And how much rain's fallen?
The weather.
No one gives a stuff.
It went worldwide when I asked him how much rain he's had.
This is what we're doing today, just so you understand. When he comes on, we think it's around 1 o'clock. Yep. You come out of the break as the host of the segment. So you've got to get the Coates Hire right. You've got to get the McDonald's right. And then you've got to introduce Plugger much better than you did last time, where you broke down and couldn't finish.
So I'll build it up a little bit more.
Build it up nicely.
The whole segment is going to be self-contained by you, Spud.
That's it, Spud.
So when you give the credits, Brian, do I start low or do I hang on to one of the pills to get your voice up?
Depends where you leave it with Plugger. You've got to do something different. So the inflections of this whole thing are really important. And if I don't hear you attempt to do that, there'll be trouble.
Do I pump you up with Plugger as well, the Coleman medalist as well?
Probably fade a little bit.
Wouldn't need it, but this is how you went about introducing him last time, of course.
He's humble. He doesn't like talking about himself. He is the Don Bradman of our game. I'm sorry to get emotional, but I've lost it. Thank you.
Yes! That is still the funniest audio.
You can't be doing any of that when he comes on.
I've just started sweating, God. You can't.
I get the feeling you're still pretty emotional, Spud. I think you could fall for that same opening.
I must admit, I down the Saints a couple of mornings a week, and the coaches said something different to me because I'm excited. I'm excited for Robert Harvey.
Another man who's excited is the other superstar who's going to be involved in this interview, Wayne Carey. This is a message he sent our producer this morning.
1. New voice message. Message received today at 11:01 a.m.
Lukey boy, Duck. Mate, geez, I can't believe how tully I am. I reckon I've had about 3 hours sleep last night. Been writing down all my questions for Plugger. I just can't believe how nervous I am about talking to someone on the phone. I'll never forget the first time I met him. I can't wait to see whether he remembers the first time I met him. Probably doesn't, and that's why I'm a bit tully. I think, mate, just can't wait. Very nervous though, mate, so sort of nurse me through it. Cheers, buddy. See ya.
There are no more messages.
So, Spud, that's the king.
Yeah, well, I can understand that, why he gets a bit nervy.
You've got to get that. You've got to calm him down as the host and get him ready.
So I sort of, in the ad break, we'll just have a quick chat to him outside and just say, mate, this is not...
That's it.
Yeah, just settle down.
Because Damo and I couldn't give a stuff. We had 15 minutes off.
Well, I did mention you two guys to him, and he said, who?
I might start with something like, Plugger, everything you tell Spud on the quiet ends up on Triple
air.
M.
You go with that.
I might go with that at the start.
I wouldn't go with that, Brian. Remember Tony Jones wasn't going to go there?
Yeah.
That's how it started.
So, Spud, and then at the end of it, you got to thank him, and then you got to tease what's coming up next.
What is coming up next?
Well, you've got to work that out.
Well,
that's the role of the host.
You've got the cards.
Spud, I'm out having a coffee with Damo, and then you got to do a nice job with Coates Hire, and then you got to get to the McDonald's throw. Spud, this is the bit I'm interested in.
Throw me under the... Hey, don't you laugh, because I'll ask Plugger about that day he kicked 11 and caved Peter Caven's head in for an inch of his life.
I think he's going to cave my head in too.
You got told to go and get the interview when he was getting onto the bus. He doesn't remember it, but I remember him getting on the bus to say, who was that binocular-headed guy?
Who did he chuck the crutches at one night?
That
at
was
St
Eddie.
Kilda Stadium?
Eddie
That was
Maguire.
Ed.
That was after he broke his ankle, so
Yeah.
he doesn't remember you, Warren. So I wouldn't bring that
I
up.
still remember that day, Spud. It was
Yeah,
a very
well-
scary moment.
No, I'm happy to do
so
it.
that's well.
I'll nail that.
Well, I hope you do.
Oh, it'll be
and,
smooth.
And I want your intro to be good and strong.
Yeah.